Hey, good morning. It's Phyllis Serene here, and I am in the country and enjoying it once again on Sunday morning on the farm, and it's nice and quiet. And this is my favorite time of the day to come in because I have the place to myself, and it's just peaceful. All the animals are fed, so everybody taking their morning nap. So much is going on this week, and I had the red moon was the big one, and I missed it. I was on a train heading down to Bangkok, so I didn't get to see the eclipse itself. So I was really bummed because it was in our part of the world, but I could feel it. You know, it was all the shifts, and it was most interesting to me that an old song popped in my head. I was a missionary for 12 years, from 1980 to 92, or as a Christian from that period of time. I was a missionary from 1982 to 92. And it was one of those songs that just went, oh, wait, that just happened. And the song is called Awake, Zion, Awake. And it says, awake, Zion, awake. Awake and trim thy lamps. Awake, Zion, awake. Awake and trim thy lamps. For the stars of heaven shall fall, and the moon shall turn into blood, and the sons of God shall arise. Zion, awake. And I just went, oh, the moon turned into blood. That's happened twice this year. And I went, a song I knew from the 80s that made me just go, what did they know that I didn't know? And the trim your lamp part in particular spoke to me, and it's kind of my own personal philosophy of like, okay, I'll do it when I have to. And it's time to do the have to stuff. And it's kind of the Dallas Cowboys last 2 minutes of the game, that Hail Mary pass that makes. I was raised with the Cowboys, so I got it from their heroic storytelling point of view. But it was that, and it's caused me many a time now to have to go back and look at the book of Revelations and go, okay, wait, what was that story again? And look at how many things are coming about in the most interesting way, and the way they were interpreted, and the way we are actually seeing them manifest. And one of those was about the mark of the beast, and remember the 666, the mark of the beast. And I don't have anything on that one specifically, but to say I think AI is a better marking of the beast, or as I've said in other videos, the beasts, meaning those who are partaking of meat. They are cannibals or meat eaters or beast eaters, and have the kind of same resonance as other carnivores. And you can be a carnivore, but you're edible, and you're edible by other species when you're more carnivore. So herbivores like cows get eaten too, and we kill all that, but we're not the highest thing on the species, and definitely we're on some people's menus. So and I'm on every bug's menu out here, and I'm thanking them that they're going to leave me alone for a little bit. But I am getting bit while I'm talking to you, so you see me moving, I'm like, yeah, okay. So, and I may just pause to go get some bug spray. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I'm trying to sit back because the sun is getting brighter. And I have a policy. I feed 3 mosquitoes before I cover up, because I know mama's got to feed their babies, so I do my bit. Anyway, I was talking about old prophecies and seeing those come to pass, and just an interesting time in how do we interpret things. I really thought AI and robotics will be a big factor over the next 50 years. They're not going away, and that is the reality, and we are the ones that are first wrestling with that reality, like, oh, that's happening, and it will happen. I think that war will have an effect on our population so much that we will need AI, and that's the shift that we've not planned on, because we cannot force a technology on people, but when a technology is wanted, that's when the demand hits. And so that's the concern I have for that long term. But I really wanted to focus on what do you need to know, and diplomacy is one of those words that we don't use very often. I've been thinking about it a lot as I'm ready to organize a Camp Wakanda Asia diplomatic tour to the Wonder Fruit Festival in Pattaya, Thailand in December. So if you're a burner or have those kind of experiences and think you can camp and help build a camp, we welcome you. And you've got skills or arts and talents, or you just want to party, have a good time, and share it with your friends, come join our camp. It's open to everyone. Camp Wakanda is an international camp that welcomes everyone. So, but we like you to dress up. So it's a little cosplay as well. So consider that if you're in this part of the world in December. And if you are going to travel in this part of the world in December, let's talk about the things you need to think about. And I'm meeting tourists now that this is their first trip abroad. You know, they come out to the farm and go, there's a lot of bugs here. I'm like, yeah, baby, there are a lot of bugs here. Because we are an organic pesticide-free farm, so we are a bug refuge place for bugs that don't want to die out in the fields around us. And so I'm grateful to be one of those spaces. It's sanctuary for many of us. But it takes some adjusting to. And so I've got 10 points to consider on diplomacy and travel. So the first one, stares. If you are not of that culture, you will be stared at. Like when you are at home and you see somebody out of place in your world, you stare at them. And you don't catch yourself because everybody's doing it, or you're just so dumbfounded. And it is a very common thing. And now that you are traveling, you are the staree. And welcome to that world. And realize you are a whole walking movie every time you walk down the street in another country, because they are comparing you to all the other images, trying to make order out of chaos in their minds that they have seen. And they've probably only seen the movies and TV, so you represent the best and the worst of that. So it's up to you to do that, be that. It's your call. You want to ignore it? Okay. They'll add to their story, and they'll make a judgment about all of us because of the one. And that's not fun either. But it is a reality. And in Asia in particular, where the stories have been very controlled, they've not seen all the movies we've seen. They've not lived the lives we've not lived. They don't know our slavery stories. They know our Obama story, so they see that. And they see the African stories that most Americans or Europeans don't even have those inside stories of. So we are missing a lot of information. We don't know what they've seen unless we look it up. So do your homework, look it up, see the stories of African Americans in those countries, and look for those groups. Secondly, how you dress is really going to determine the initial response. Americans are used to shorts and tank tops, and women will put it out there, as well as men going topless, and think nothing of it. However, you're offending most Asians, and Europeans not so much. Africans will definitely judge you, and definitely in the Middle East, you can't. You just can't. And if you don't know the primary religion of a country, you should, because they will all look at you and judge you. I mean, it's not right or wrong, it just happens, and we all do it. So take that in consideration when you are dressing. There's a saying here in Thailand that only bar girls like sex, and good women are raped into sexuality by their husbands or partners, and that they're not supposed to enjoy it. So it's still kind of the 1960s here in that thinking. And that's not going to change with you walking around, because you're just in the category of only the bar girls like sex. And those are professional girls who are making their money, and all due respect to them. But that's how, there's two worlds. It's still the Madonna and the whore kind of thinking here. So one to consider. The third is the reason to dress is to bugs. You're edible. Dengue fever is a real thing here, and if you're not aware of that, then you're going to be subjected to bites of things that you're not going to notice during the day, and it won't manifest for 2 or 3 days later, and could be sick as a dog. And they're not all dengue. Sometimes there's some unknown bugs, and then during rainy season, or you're just new fresh blood that haven't tried before, you're on the menu. And when you're in the city, it's dirtier. I'm in the country, I'm not so worried about dengue. I'm just worried about too many of them, or some new species that pops up that says, ooh, let's eat all of her. That's the ones I'm concerned about. And every type of ant here, when they say fire ants, they mean it. Those things will bite you and set you on fire. A good one is a wake-up call, unless you're asleep. Then you may get a few of them before you wake up and go, ow. But it's a reason to cover the body. And lycra, nylon things aren't, the spandex things ain't going to do it either. That's just going to enhance the smell, if you will. And the fabric is still breathable, so you are just kind of making more flesh to the surface, seems like. They love it when I wear my spandex pad, and so give me that. The third thing is, the fourth thing is, and this is for my culturally sensitive folks. Racist much? We tend to look at the world from our perspective. Duh. No news here. However, let me just be honest. Black folks, we go out there and expecting all the white folks to be the same, or all the Asians to be the same. And we don't know what same is. It is, yes, there is a lot of same behaviors and mistrust. We're human. We all do that. You will be looked at and judged, and that's not fair either. But to the expectations of, oh, it's going to be difficult. Oh, I'm going to have to fight. That's the part you have to check yourself and go, it's about your intention. If you expect to see a problem, you'll find it. If you expect racism, you'll get it. And so it's out there. But it is a mental choice to look for it or not. So I encourage you to check yourself and check, is that an old trigger that's been charged because you think it could be this, or the way they looked at you and what they were thinking. Now, when you say, I know what they were thinking, I'm like, ooh, you really spend a lot of time in your head when I hear those lines, because it is really just your projections. And so you got to really be careful with those. And it's a hard one here, but it's a good one to relax and let go. And this is a good place to do that. So see it for what it is and go, that's me too. I've done it too. So help with that. Number 5, learn how to read a map. Because if your Google dies, your phone dies, how many times we lost our phone, the cell phone signal don't work. And Google don't work so well out here in the jungle. Taxi drivers hate it, and they will blow it off if you don't know the name of the place. So old school, get a map. Every hotel has them somewhere, so you can get a map and look it up and be able to know your north and east and west, know where the sun rises, so you can find your way home and don't get lost in the jungle. It happens. Your motorbike breaks down when you go on a wander and you go, oops. Now, the beautiful thing, when you are on a wander and you are not around people, they help you, especially the further you get out from the city. There's help and there's loving, helpful people out there, so you don't have to be suspicious. out there as we are back home in the city. Urban life has made us a little more intense. 6, open your mind. Oh boy, this is really, millennials, I love y'all. But what has happened, it seems, with your generation is that we've all been focused in this little box. This has been our world. So if it doesn't come and meet you and fulfill you in this space, you tend to ignore it. And that's allowing us, or keeping us, from seeing the spectrum. Did you notice the passion fruit up there? Oh, when that happens, we are dismissed. And I'm lovely to be at an age that, right at that age that younger people are dismissing me as OG. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like my OG status. And if there's no transactional value in the communication or relationship, it's like go. And I've done the same thing, so I'm guilty of looking at people and go, do you have something I need to learn or do with you? If not, I'm not that interested, I'm moving on. It happens. But I've learned that if I can just have some fun, and now that I can read faces more and just look at the stories, I look at people and look for the intelligence and see where their smile and what lights up their life, because that's what's interesting to me, and that's what they'll be interested about, and that's the story I want to hear. So expand the mind for more stories so that you will have the opportunity of happenstance, that in coincidental and magic and miracles was making connections, because our time is not wasted here. Every day values, and I know I've not wasted a day in my life, so enjoy each day and look for the opportunities for personal growth. Okay, what's next? 7, respect. I cannot tell you how many people have thanked me as a foreigner for respecting their culture, and I'm like, And the only thing I knew I different was not show off my shoulders. And I went, oh, right, you don't like that. Okay, cool. And given the thinking about women in your head in the past, I've moved over to the, and let's just sit and listen. So it goes a long way, and it opens up so many doors. That's the beautiful part. You'll get into places you would have never gotten to when you have respect, and they don't want to just shut the door when they see you coming. 8, if you are taking a lot of meds, your PTSD, your depression, those things are not going to go away just by getting here. You're not going to just lay in a hammock and everything's going to be wonderful. There could be some stressor, especially when you lose your luggage, or your flight's late, you missed the flight, immigration don't like to look at you. You're getting all types of, your hotel's not ready, the room is much smaller, there's a bug in it. Those stressors happen. You're lonely. You can't call your friends because it's on a different time zone, and you wake them up and they don't like that. So there's a space that happens for you that makes you be still and be in your body and accept that you are alone here. And for some people that's scary as hell, and a pill is a great blocker for that. Same with weed, same with alcohol. Great blockers for not dealing with the pain of being in the now. It doesn't get any easier unless you look at it and face it and break the pattern within yourself for a fix or a crutch. And just look at the pain and sit with it. Guess what? It passes faster. It's just like, it's a splinter in your heart. You gotta pull that thing out. You can ignore it, but it just gets worse. So pull it out. And Ho'oponopono is a very good tool for that. And go look at my YouTube videos, The Magic of Ho'oponopono, to get the how to resolve that. And it's not just a mantra that you just say. you really have to do radical honesty with it, with yourself, or if you're doing it with someone, use that tool. And especially if you're worried about healthcare, if you're a Western healthcare, read and research allopathic medicine, which is what you are doing. And then you want to look at the 5 branches of Thai medicine or Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine and understand the other options that are out for you, because you are in a system that's designed not to treat the original source of the problem or heal you. It is there to give you an opposite reaction with a pill or substance or that from your complaint. So if you say my neck hurts, then they give you what? Pain pills for the neck hurting and say, oh, stretch like this. It doesn't tell you address the emotional issues that are causing that problem. That's where it starts, and with the thoughts that cause the emotions, that cause the pain, that cause the dis-ease, right? So it's a bigger process, and if you pay attention to that stage of the game, you won't need the pills as much. 9. What movie do you represent? You know, you dressed yourself in the morning, so your vision of who you are is based on the clothing you put on. So take a picture of yourself and look at yourself, the whole body, not your face, because we focus too much on our face. That's our narcissistic tendencies. Look at the story you're telling and label it. Label it. You label yourself so that you know what you're projecting out there. Now, what you think you're projecting may not be what it is, but if you just not look at your head and look at the body, there's where the story is. It'll talk about what you eat. It'll talk about what you think about sexuality. It'll talk about what your belief systems are. You know, if you're religious, are you wearing garb? Are you covered in tattoos? What advertising are you doing? Are you wearing, you know, something funny on your shirt, or, you know, some brand name because that's what you do and that's who you are. So you dress yourself well every day. Ain't nobody making you unless you got a mama or a partner that's a little more controlling than normal. You get to decide what look you like, and you do it every time you shop. Especially every time you buy a pair of tourist elephant pants here. We just kind of go, oh, it's good for the economy. Keep buying. Okay. And then finally, 10, get lost and wander. You will not see the real city unless you get out of the tourist areas. And in Chiang Mai, the old city is just all tourism. And for the first year here, I didn't realize there was a suburban area and the wealthy and the middle class Thais that live out in the suburbs, you know. And I thought the old city was all there was, and I was like, I don't like it. It was dark and old and a little run down, touristy, and you know, everything's there. But it's so odd. Last night I was out to dinner with another tourist friend who was here to recoup, and I counted how many black people I saw, and I'm like, 8 in an hour, and I'm like, and this is low season, and they're just up and down the street, just wandering and checking out and doing their own thing, and I'm like, I want to go to a mic and just interview them all and go, hey, what's your story? But then they're all kind of the same. My first trip, I'm seeing, you know, when you run a hotel, they said there's you ask the same questions over and over again, and but you're interested in the stories, and sometimes there's some light in their eyes that you just follow the light, and it's just a nice high to share with people. So don't be afraid to tell your stories and share them. There are a lot of blogs out there, and they're important. And they're important for your world, the family of friends, to see it. So share it and be as real as you can, and tell the good, the bad, the ugly, and prepare yourself. And finally, look at more videos. There's plenty out there. Look at the good, the bad, the ugly. Look at the things to be concerned about, the things you have to have. If you eat a lot of commercial processed food, it's here. Monsanto has been here since the 80s, so our food is just as polluted as in other parts of the world. I think probably Europe has probably the best shot at clean food. because they've regulated it. However, we should all share the same air. Northern hemisphere, above the equator, shares the same air, and the southern hemisphere. So you're not really going to get away from pollutants anymore. I see radiation mutations in the soil, and I see them on the farm. So where I've moved here to get away from the pesticides, and that has helped for me unless somebody brings in something, sugar or an oil that's on a pesticide farm. It hurts my body, and I can feel it and get a quick, immediate reaction from it. It's still in the air, and it's affecting all our plants' life and us. And that's affecting our fertility system. What you need to understand is pesticides work in 3 stages. If they don't kill you in the first stage, then they break down your immune system, so you're more susceptible to flus, coughs, everything, parasites, whatever. Second, your endocrine system, that makes your digestive systems all kind of mess up and you get sick. And third, your fertility system. And what was very aware to me in the late 90s was complaints I heard from my friends in the lesbian community who were complaining about there's no more lesbians. They've all started transitioning and going, oh, big bumblebee just came by, and transitioning to the becoming men. And I just went, interesting. Now, transgenderism is a thing. And I look at it as I've looked at what I know what the drugs are doing to our bodies, and it only takes 3 years to affect us. When they used to say it's 17 parts per million, well, 3 years is 17 parts per million. It's going to affect your whole body. So we are living in toxic soup land, no matter where you are on the planet. It just is. So what we can do best is stop hyping it up, raising the amount of poisons in our body, and extend our lives that way. Because the statistics in America are that 1 out of every 2 women and 1 out of every 3 men will get cancer. Let that sit with you for a minute. So it is a fight to stay healthy at this stage of the game, and that's the only thing that I think that's really important to do with our bodies while we have them. But it's also cool to not worry about it. Enjoy life, live the fullest you can with your limitations, and get to the park first. That's the refuge places for all of us. Nature is our healing. Go ground, get your feet in the ground. We have forgotten those old ways of healing because we have insulated ourselves. And the gilded cage, which America has been known for, may become the gilded or the iron cage where you can't get in and out. So that's another story, but that's one to be concerned about. Will you be able to travel and leave the country if you want to, if disease or the CDC says you can't? So hope not, but it's a reality. We've done it to other countries, and other countries could do it to us. So just so you know, it's a big world out there. There's a whole lot going on that you need to see from the ground. So get out there and travel and make the plan. Wander. Give yourself a couple days of just wandering and no planning when you make your trips. Come out to the farm and see me. We're a cheap stay with meals and all the bugs you can stand. So, namaste, y'all. Find me on Patreon. The Creative Continuum. Let me tell you about that real quick. I met a guy who was a Haitian brother who is a guest of a sheikh in the Middle East, developing an app, a wearable, adaptable app that will help you stay in the creative continuum. And what is the creative continuum? They heard the 80-20 rule? It's the 20% who do their passion, the 20% who follow their creative drive and succeed, whatever that is. Business, arts, love, life, they pursue with all heart. So I created the Patreon circles to do that. First entry level, $5, just hear the videos. Second entry level, $20, get the app when it comes out and get the network abilities that make that piece really an important, powerful tool. And then at the higher level, talk with me. Let's network and connect, and let me help you with the work that's ahead for all of us. Matrix hacking, we can do this. It is up to us to make it the best life. Trim your wicks, deal with your shit. Ho'oponopono, get you right back to 0 point. So work it out. Know that you are loved and supported. Say hello, wave. Namaste, y'all.